Wow.
So are you then saying all of this financialization and illusion making is having a negative impact on the real economy?
I would say so. Absolutely.
How does that work?
So when you prioritize, financial asset prices over everything else, you change incentives in the market-based economy.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of people trying to figure out, how to create a new product or new good or service that would be serving other people or be solving a problem that is faced by the market, the focus now becomes, okay, how do we game the system to make more money? How do I lever up and get more returns? How do I find a meme coin that can go up 10,000% in the next 2 years? How do I leverage my S&P, long to make double or triple what I would make normally in a year?
Right.
And so the focus now becomes financial engineering instead of real engineering, which is net. I would say it's definitely net negative, because not only are you spending time and energy on something that's just, trying to extract more yield out of an existing asset, you're also taking those very smart people away from real jobs.
That's a great point. Yeah. So from people that would be real engineers instead become financial engineers, because that's where the money is. Mm-hmm. But the activities that they're making the money in are actually non-productive activities, right?
Absolutely.
Because they're not making a good or service. They're just rigging the game in their own favor to extract more yield. So that is a zero-sum game, right? Mm-hmm. That's win-lose. My win has to be your loss. But in a market economy, you can have win-win situations, right? So we're shifting the entire game away from a win-win dynamic to win-lose dynamic.
Yep. And it's wealth extracting, right? Like we said, you're stealing from savers, you're stealing from the future, you're pumping up asset prices, and you're even, like I said, in many ways, you can view it as, kind of what Alex Gladstein points out, of you're almost creating vassal states in the rest of the world, and making them subservient to the U.S. and making them invest in U.S. assets and pump the U.S. dollar up and pump up U.S. treasuries and pump up U.S. equities at the expense of their own. Because those dollars they could have used to, those excess funds they could have used to invest in their own economy or invest in their own stocks. Right. And instead they invest in U.S. because it makes sense, right? Like if you have a huge dollar surplus, you have let's say you're an individual company and you have $50 million a year in excess surplus reserves from selling to the U.S., you want to make money on that. Why wouldn't you? So invest in U.S. assets. And that means obviously mainly things that are quote unquote safe. So U.S. treasuries, U.S. agency-backed securities. But then you also might throw some of that in the S&P, and you might throw some of that in NVIDIA and in, Tesla or whatever. And that's what all these sovereign wealth funds and all these large corporations have been doing.